So I've ran my saw, just like it is, and I've got an air leak. It's either the manifold boot or the crankcase halves still aren't sealed properly. Because you can have the butterfly open a bit and it's revving off of its tits kind of thing, right, because it's laying, getting its own air source from somewhere. You screw the low in and it slows down instead of speeding up, because that's normally what happens when you lean an engine out. You're richen it up and it keeps revving higher because obviously it's got more fuel, so it's got more fuel to burn, so it's got more air going in, because it's completely backwards to what it normally is at the moment, because it's got this air leak somewhere. So I will try and just put another boot on it, because this is a second-hand boot. Well, was on this thing, which could partially be the reason it died. Yeah, maybe there is a hole in there, even though I couldn't find one. But I'm betting that them halves aren't sealed properly. So I'm still waiting on a handle, and I think I'm short one anti-vibe, but I can pull it apart, start again. Oiler works, and it spat out heaps of castor oil when I started it. If I had my little pumpy device that I want to buy, I could put a blank on the exhaust side and block up the intake. Once I take the carby off, there's a perfectly round hole there, and put pressure in through the impulse line, and I could squirt it and find out where it was leaking. But I don't have that tool, and it currently had a stock to buy it, and it's worth $100. So anyway, just do it the old-fashioned way, and maybe I will pull the engine out and just reseal the bottom half. I used Permatex, and even though I gooped it on, it may not be sealing. So I better use some silicone on the two halves of the engine. So yeah, that's where I'm up to with that. So this is just a midweek video, just to get something on the channel. The exhaust turned up. What else turned up for it? I have got a brand new manifold, but I want to try this old one. So, because maybe I just change it anyway. But then I won't know what the problem was. I'm betting that the two halves of the crankcase aren't sealed, because I had to machine one of them. File it by hand, because none of them are flat. Stupid bloody Chinese aftermarket parts. Anyway, and check the crank seals are all sealed. So yeah, they were tight on the shaft, but whether they've sealed in the hole that they cut out. So yeah. Anyway, I could probably show you what I mean, because that's the cutout I'm talking about that they sit in. There we go, we've got some focus. That's the old one, obviously. And that's the crank. But yeah, this is a genuine steel one that's dead. Non-repairable. Well, I suppose if I had a boring bit and could find an oversized piston, I could actually repair that. If I could stick it in a lathe and get it square, or a mill or something. And could find an oversized sort of piston. Because with a boring bit, I believe you could do that. You could cut that even though the ports are there. It'd be slow work. Anyway, but you could do it. Yeah, but these fucking surfaces were never flat. So even this one, who knows if it's ever been apart, but even they use silicone, so perhaps I shall just do that and put it back together and see. Radio, out for now.